COVID-19, and we want the Ghana state to progress peacefully. Ni Obedru the first.
I go to the front page of the Daily Statesman. NPP picks 2020 campaign team. That was a big story from yesterday. Photos of Peter McMenu, Efua Sabia Sare, Mustafa Hamid, John Boadu, Lord Kome, and Samni Ewuku. Your pull him down can't destroy me. Alote to NDC.
Now, the finder, 5.06 billion Ghana cedis paid to depositors, 2.1 billion paid in cash, 2.95 billion Ghana cedis paid in bonds. 98% received cash payment. 98% of 29,000 depositors received cash payment. NPP donates to National Chief Imam and the Muslim community. Ghana's COVID-19 cases peaked on April 25. Dr. Bedusa Akodie, and Cabinet examines COVID-19 impact and recovery measures.
All right. Front page of the Daily Guide paper. I didn't kill Mills, says Mahama. Fomena Kumewu Hospital's contractor back to work. Good news. Minority MPs cry over COVID-19 response. And Alote Jacobs is also on the front page of the Daily Guide.
Now, the Chronicle has a story on the front page from Takrade. Freight forwarders say that Unipass is not working. Don't relax COVID-19 restrictions. NDC. Cure for COVID-19. Ghana likely to fall on Madagascar. FDA to test efficacy of her drug. And Tema Interchange Phase 1 opens in June.
Front page of the Herald newspaper. Takrade freight forwarders importers demo against Unipass. Disputed Kuyapehene dragged before National House of Chiefs in Kumasi. Konfanoche shuts down children's ward. Quarantines 26 staff as baby dies of COVID-19. Ghana and other African countries facing three monsters, according to ex-President Kufuor.
The new weekend crusading guide. Akufo-Addo fulfills promise. 600 million Ghana cedi stimulus package ready. Zoom Lion joins forces with police to disinfect and fumigate police facilities. Kotoka International Airport disinfection pressure mounts on Ghana Airport Company Limited for ignoring the health minister's letter. And Amin Bunsu medicines cured me of COVID-19. New Jersey COVID-19 patient reviews.
Front page of the Ghanaian Observer. Ghana's positive case count declining according to the Ghana Health Service. Sayo as Alote Jacobs fires NDC over suspension saga. Ajwa Safo champions Domiko Abinya NHIA office fire service station.
The Gold Street business. GRA pilots renamed Unipass at ports. ICUMS to be fully operational by June 1. Cedi depreciation resumes. Rising demand for cheap Chinese exports, strengthening US dollar account for this. GEPA facilitates coconut production boost. 5-year target of supplying 500,000 coconut seedlings on course. And a very interesting article. What COVID-19 reveals about Ghana's educational inequality.
Wow. Yes, good one there. Front page of the BNFT. 59% of companies do not have whistleblowing facilities, according to a new KPMG report. Huge boost for farmers ahead of crop season. I'll give you details on that. GEPA steps into fast-track economic recovery. And the Springfield ENI story is also on the front page of the paper.
CitiNewsroom.com. Unipass is making a strong comeback. It's a disaster. Abrogate deal. This is Mutala, former deputy minister to government. Also, Takrade, freight forwarders, importers picket to demand suspension of Unipass. Other stories. MPP appoints McMenu campaign manager for 2020 elections. And Haruna Idrisu blast EC boss. You are running a state institution and not an NGO. Other stories. Ghana loses 120 million cedis to fertilizer smuggling. This is according to the PFJ Secretariat. ECG announces power cuts in parts of Accra beginning today. And coronavirus, minority slums government for selling false hope to citizens. And also this audio, Menshia police commander prays over arrest of woman who tried to have husband killed. That story is making a lot of good, getting a lot of good clicks on CitiNewsroom.com. If you go to Citi Business News, vegetable exporters lament over 100% rise in cost of freight due to COVID-19. Also, RMG Ghana launches 100,000 Ghana cedi support package for farmers and other stakeholders. And banks can hold AGMs electronically to satisfy BOG requirements. That's an interesting one. Meanwhile, MBSSI to receive applications for the 600 million cedi stimulus package via an online portal. So those of you who are interested, you know where to go. If you go to myjoyonline.com, COVID-19, major markets in Obuasi to be closed down. Mahama shouldn't have had bribe taking interview with BBC, according to Stan Dogbe. Also, health authorities get lifeline as KCCR begins to clear, or KCCR clears backlog of samples. And there's an interesting story from the BBC here. Black people in the UK are 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than white people. This is from data they are showing. If you go to Star News, stop giving Ghanaians false hope. Minority to Ghanaians. Obuasi Central Market shut down. UEW reviews measures for online exams, and Ghana to receive Madagascar's COVID-19 herbal cure. Now, let me take you to a few other places. CNN has 2 worrying stories. Virus despair could kill tens of thousands, according to a report. Not the virus itself, the despair that comes from the virus could kill tens of thousands. And stories of missing and discarded bodies reveal a city overwhelmed by COVID-19. That's also on CNN. So, gentlemen, let's start locally. I wanted to take you to South Africa. It's a very troubling story about how the lockdown affected poor people. And the article says they protested for food. The police fired rubber bullets. Very, very interesting story. Let's get into the details.
Okay, let me start from the stimulus package business. People are very interested in that one.
Yeah.
Front page of the Daily Graphic. About 200,000 businesses have been projected by the National Board for Small-Scale Industries to benefit from the disbursement of the 600 million Ghana Cedi soft loan scheme announced by the President for Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises in view of the impact of the coronavirus disease on them. The Executive Director of the MBSSI, Mrs. Kosiyanki Aye, who made this known, said with people losing their jobs to reduction of staff strength by businesses as a result of the negative impact of the COVID-19, the board was also working hard to support businesses, including those which had come out with innovations. Now, according to Mrs. Aye, the COVID-19 had negatively impacted nations, including Ghana, and that some of the hardest hit Ghanaian businesses were in the category of MSMEs in both the formal and informal sector. Now, on accessibility to this, and that's what people are interested in, says to ensure the successful, efficient, and transparent execution of the program, an online portal had been developed to be used, which was awaiting approval from the board of directors. She explained that the portal will be stress tested by independent consultants to ensure that all implementation challenges were minimized. She said the board would also create the opportunity for those who were not tech savvy or had limited access to the internet in remote districts to have access to partake in the business support scheme.
Still on support, receiver to pay outstanding locked up funds after second level validation in May. That also came from yesterday's press conference. Citi Business News story says government says the receiver for the defunct microfinance companies and savings and loans firms is set to complete a record level of validation processes to pay all affected customers whose funds were locked up after the BOG revoked the license of the institutions. This follows an initial validation and payment of some 5 billion cedis to customers. Now, as part of efforts aimed at cleaning the financial sector, BOG revoked the lines of 347 microfinance and 23 savings and loans and discount houses. Now, Minister for Information Kojo Nkrumah said the second level of validation will be completed by end of May for payment to commence. So, those of you who've been waiting for your money, end of May. Then a final one, Kojo, on a Greek. RMG launches 100,000 support package for farmers and other stakeholders. Because we've been reading a lot of stories about how the COVID is affecting people, so we need to tell people what is being done to solve it, right? One of the major companies in Ghana's agri industry, RMG Limited, has announced a 100,000 cedi support package to encourage Ghanaian farmers to keep up with agricultural production to prevent food scarcity as the country initiates measures to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. The gesture will also benefit other stakeholders such as technical staff and distributors to go about their duties to enhance food security. Mr. Kote, MD of the company, said this during a presentation of assorted items including soap, hand sanitizers and personal protective equipment to reps of farmer-based groups in the country. This is a good one, isn't it?
Yes, very, very good one. And GEPA is also distributing 500,000 coconut seedlings.
Give me that story.
Yes, the story on the front page of the Go Street Business says the Ghana Export Promotion Authority has taken steps to boost coconut production by supplying 160,000 disease-resistant coconut seedlings to the Coconut Farmers Association of Ghana.
Okay.
The goal of this major intervention is to increase the crop acreage to a total of 10,000 acres across the country. And the target is to provide 500,000 seedlings to coconut farmers within the next 5 years to increase production and export of the crop.
But the only troubling story from the agri sector is Ghana loses 120 million cedis to fertilizer smuggling.
How is that possible?
According to the
why is
Planting
it
for
not
Food and
possible?
Jobs, that's a lot of money. Now, the Planting for Food and Jobs Secretariat says the ministry, under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, has warned that the program risks collapsing if concerted efforts are not made to stop the smuggling of government subsidized fertilizer. According to the Secretariat, Ghana lost a whopping 120 million cedis from unaccounted for fertilizer, diversion of coupons, and fertilizer smuggling in the 2017 and 2018 planting season. Speaking to Citi News in Bolgatanga at a limited meeting with agric officers and input dealers on how to tackle the menace ahead of the 2020 planting season, officer in charge of special duties for planting for food and jobs, Bafo Amokofi II, admonished stakeholders in synergy to stop fertilizer smuggling, adding that the situation, if not checked, will threaten the sustenance of the program. Here's his quote: "We have realized that if we do not stop this smuggling, in future, planting for food and jobs will collapse, because we have reviewed that from 2017 and 2018, we saw diversion of coupons and unaccounted for fertilizer costing the government more than 120 million cedis. I have written a report that is going to the central region. They were not able to account for 1,288 coupons, and if you multiply this by 68, it's about 87,754, and this happened in the regional office, not the district office. So if we don't stop this smuggling and other things before we realize, the program will collapse. For you in the north, you have to wake up and help us completely destroy this disease of fertilizer smuggling, because it is like coronavirus." Charlie, seriously, you know.
No, but Bernard, you see.
Then, Upper East Regional Director of MOFA, Francis Eno, hinted that his office has taken pragmatic measures to curb the menace of smuggling in the region.
Oh.
And that he spoke about what some of the things they were doing. We are going to have to issue some plenty things. It's
Bernard, look.
Charlie.
Last year, you used to call me Mr. Fertilizer.
I know, it
On
was
the
your
breakfast.
beat.
It was my beat. They set up committees, whatnot. It's not working.
You see, Godfred, when human nature and the way we behave becomes a threat to a policy, you need a lot of things to deal with it. Incentives, moral suasion, and all those things.
Transparency.
Okay, we've done agric. Let's go to other things.
Well, but let's do oil, but we'll revert to agric again. There's a lot happening
What
in the
else
agric
is in
sector.
agric?
Well, if you go to BNFT, Kojo should be happy about this. Cross-border cashew trade attracting foreigners despite border closure.
Yeah.
Despite closure of the country's borders to help curb spread of coronavirus, some foreigners have been maneuvering into the country to conduct illegal businesses through border posts with Cote d'Ivoire in the Bono region.
How should this make him happy?
The situation has heightened fears and anxiety among residents in communities like Sampa, Nkrankwanta, Kofibedu Krom, and Gono Krom along the Ghana-Cote d'Ivoire border on the western side. Coincidentally, the first confirmed case in the Bono region has been reported at Sampa. As at May 7, 2020, the total number of confirmed cases stood at 3,091, with Bono being the latest region to record COVID-19.
So it's actually not a positive story.
Yes, it's not. It's not.
Kojo, let me give you another one that will make you sad. Vegetable exporters lament over 100% rise in cost of freight due to COVID-19. This came yesterday. There are more details today.
Yeah.
The Vegetable Producers and Exporters Association of Ghana is lamenting the over 100% increase in the cost of exporting their produce due to the restricted movement caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The over 500 member association says though cargo flights are allowed to operate, it is taking a toll on the operations, compelling some of them to cut down labor to offset the rise in the operating cost. President Felix Kamasa explained to Citi Business News that the cost of freight had, since the closure of Ghana's borders to passenger flights, increased from $1.10 to $2.70. Hey, agric. We have to look at this agric sector very well.
Yeah. Now, also, a few quick headlines on agric. Huge
on
boost
agric.
for farmers ahead of crop season.
Okay.
That's also on the front page of the BNFT. The upcoming farming season will go ahead uninterrupted despite disruptions to the farm input supply chain. RMG Ghana Limited, a leading input provider, has assured that follows the launch of the firm's 100,000 COVID-19 farmer support program. Yeah,
different.
So
okay, let's come to
that is there.
Kojo for other stories.
Well, the stories you are reading also show that we need to have a national logistics strategy to deal with some of the things we are talking about. Because COVID-19 has shown that like everything is really not built properly. For example, if we had our own properly managed airline which had a cargo unit, maybe we could put something in place to help our farmers transport their stuff to
very
other
important.
places. Maybe
or a real system.
something.
Let's go on.
Yes. Now, center spread of the Chronicle. Happy days for Tema people and Dawenya people and people in that particular enclave. The Tema Interchange Phase 1 opens in June. And the photos have been published here. Really, really beautiful stuff.
Nice one.
And Agnes Ansa says that users of the Accra Tema motorway can now heave a sigh of relief and kiss the endless stay in traffic goodbye as Phase 1 of the project completes next month. The government of Ghana, through the Ghana Highway Authority, gave out the project to CTI Engineering and Shimizu Dai Nippon in 2018.
Nice.
Considering the serious traffic congestion encountered on it. This is really beautiful.
I'm inviting myself to the launch, even if you don't invite me.
You will be there.
I'm going myself.
But Bernard, there's something we must say. If you read the document, the contracts planning for this particular project, they said that beyond constructing this interchange, if the government does not find funding
For
to
the next-
improve the roads around the area, going to Dawena, going to
Akosombo.
and those areas, the traffic will just be migrated from one place to another.
Well, since you are in Tema, let me take you to freight forwarders in Takrady. This story says freight forwarders and importers picket to demand suspension of Unipass. CityNewsroom.com. Some freight forwarders in Takrady on Thursday, May 7, picketed at the Customs Division of the GRA in Takrady to demand the suspension of Unipass, which they say has been problematic for the operations. According to them, although they raised several issues with Unipass throughout the training and piloting of the system a month ago in Takrady, the problems have not been addressed, leading to its suspension after it was extended to Tema. Then let me continue on this same thing. Unipass is a disaster. Abrogate the deal. Mutala to government. Former Deputy Minister for Trade Mutala Mohammed says the rolling out of the Unipass system at the country's port is seriously causing more harm than good. In his view, the current platform can only be best described as a disaster, and he was speaking on Eyewitness News.
Okay, let me do a quick story before Kujo comes in. Hospital update. Fomena Kumewu Hospital's contractor back to work. Residents of Fomena and Kumewu in the Ashanti region are heaving a sigh of relief after the contractor building the district hospitals in their respective areas returned to site with an order to complete the project within 90 days.
Sure.
Okay. The managing director of SCL, Samuel Okanlai, said at Fomena that they had come to the site to complete the hospital because the president had deemed it fit that this hospital project must be completed.
Okay, now let's go back to some COVID stories. Page 3 of the Chronicle, that's their biggest story anyway. Ghana likely to fall on Madagascar for COVID-19 drug. Now, the story by Maxwell Ofori says the Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with the Food and Drugs Authority, would look into the efficacy of the Madagascar coronavirus drug. The director of Ghana Health Service, Dr. Patrick Boajikuma, has disclosed. According to him, Madagascar has made an offer to Ghana to try its drug on COVID-19 patients, but some tests need to be conducted to ascertain the potential of the drug, which is said to have cured patients in the country.
But I listened to your interview with the FDA boss, and she didn't sound very enthused. The kind of information she put out there.
Giving a slant to the thing.
Yes.
They're just saying that when the thing comes, they will test it to make sure it is safe. It's not as if we are likely to fall on it.
Yeah.
That's not what they
Because
say.
if you listen to her, she spoke about the lack of any peer-reviewed independent assessment, the fact that it was tested only on 20 people with only 2 people coming out cured.
Yes,
You know,
and
she
it would be
didn't sound very
interesting to
enthused
also
by
know
it.
the results of the tests that were carried out on some local herbal medication. You know, the Herbal Practitioners Association sent a list to be taken to plant medicine and FDA to test because they said that they believe those could be used to treat. We've not really heard anything from
Okay,
that.
let me do the oil story quick, Bernard. That's a significant story. Let me give it to you from the BNFT. Daily Graphic also has that story on page 16. But front page of the BNFT says that Springfield E&P and ENI Ghana Exploration Limited have been directed by government to commence immediate talks on unitization of the Afina and Sankofa fields offshore Ghana, operated by SCP and ENI respectively, based on technical evidence that the reservoir straddles both blocks. Government directed in a letter dated 9th April to commence unitization talks immediately and complete it in 120 days and provide the ministry with the finalized agreement.
Today, I have a lot of troubling stories. ECG announces power cuts in parts of Accra beginning today. CityNewsroom.com. ECG has served notice that there will be power outages in parts of Accra beginning today, Friday, May 8th. This is to enable the company convey some transformers from Temaport to Pokwasi Bulk Supply Point construction site. This outage will last between 10 p.m. and 1 a.m. daily, and it will end on Thursday, 14th May. Some of the areas are Tema, Klagon, Spintex, Trazaku, Jowlu, Achimota, and Ofanko. And this is just because of the thing I read. Kojo?
Yes, now there's an article, special feature in the New Weekend Crusading Guide by Edith Efia Inchua, a student of the Ghana Institute of Journalism. And she writes, Abosso Glass Factory. Forgotten? And you may want to read. She says it's been over 50 years since the commissioning of the Abosso Glass Factory by Kwame Nkrumah. And in 2017, the government was urged by Professor David Kofi Esuman, Dean of the School of Physical Sciences of UCC, to revive the glass factory. But nothing has been done. And she asks, do we want to forget it or fix it?
Well, let me give you a final one, which I thought was interesting. Virus despair could kill more. According to CNN, 75,000 Americans are at risk of dying from overdose or suicide due to coronavirus despair. and this is according to a group. As many as 75,000 Americans could die because of drugs or alcohol misuse and suicide as a result of the coronavirus pandemic, according to analysis conducted by the National Public Health Group Well-Being Trust. The group is sounding the alarm that the growing unemployment crisis, economic downturn, and stress caused by isolation and lack of definitive end date for the pandemic could significantly increase so-called deaths of despair unless local, state, and federal authorities take action. My question is, are we doing any such studies here, right, where people have lost their jobs, they have no sense of what to do next? We also don't know when these bans will come to an end. It's not just an American issue, it's a global problem, and we should think about that.
With this question of yours, we might have to bring some men in to answer.
See, Godfred,
people have mentioned names there,
I
but
said
we will deal with it.
from 95 to today,
You said 95, no problem.
Kirk Franklin has no rival.
I said no problem. You see, sometimes some of the songs are covers of originals. So.
Look, we are not musicologists. We are,
we
are fans of music.
No, you said songwriting. So if you improve
this
a song, you didn't write
this
song.
This Kieran Clark thing. Give me one song,
I said, don't worry, we will be back.
I don't even know one set.
You will know. You've heard Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
No, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. We'll be back. Don't worry.